Go on. Say your name.
Angry Bird.
Angry Bird.
I'm Angry Bird.
He's angry.
My video card's ruined.
Yep. This is gonna be
I'm
a little
used
bit
to my
different.
wife's slow
for the-
computer.
There we go. His computer's a bit broken, so I'm gonna be having to do these a bit. Anyway, on to the intro. Thingy. Sounds, noises. Do. Intro things.
Boom, ba da ba 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 boom. Hello.
So today's topic is going to be about new game modes for SPvP and TPvP.
Preach it, brother.
Oh my god, please don't. Do you have to do that? Anyway.
I'm happy.
You're happy because you have a computer again, because you're away for like 6 hours or something. And you couldn't
Wandering around the house.
wandering around the house. Anyway. First up, we'll talk about the old game mode, the one that we've got now, Conquest. Yeah, most of you out there have probably given it at least a try. We've got the 3 capture points that you essentially have to take. That we've had it for about over a year now, and it's starting to get just a tad boring. I know there is a pretty big outcry out there for some new game modes. What is your opinion on the Conquest mode, Bird, at the moment?
I mean, we've had it since the beginning of the game, and even when World of Warcraft rolled out their battlegrounds, they had at least 3 game types. They had Capture the Flag with Warsong Gulch, and can you hear that?
No, can't hear it.
Okay, they had, just edit that part out. There's someone hammering something. I was making sure. Okay, the flag with Warsong Gulch, and then you had the capture points with the Arathi Basin, and then the huge Alterac Valley map. So when they released their battlegrounds, they had 3 modes. And honestly, I'm surprised that it took Guild Wars 2 so long to actually start developing new game modes, even though people were demanding it. And here's the thing about PvP and Guild Wars 2. I mean, we could make quite a few Guild Wars 2 dailies about PvP, but people didn't leave Guild Wars 2 because the PvP was bad. PvP in Guild Wars 2 is very good. If you go out into World vs. World and do like a 5v5 fight, you can see how great the PvP is. But when you put it into Conquest mode, the PvP is just so boring because you're not worried. PvP is player versus player, not player versus points or something like that. You're supposed to be out there killing people, not like, I really want to kill this guy, but I also have to watch out for the point. It's really boring. And I'm glad that they're finally releasing new game modes.
What do you think are the key things that are making it boring at the moment?
Kind of like I said, you're too worried about points, and you're not worried too much about kills. I mean, kills do help you get points, and they do help you capture points sometimes, but a lot of times you have to go these cheesy little builds. I think they're cheesy, so you might call them cookie cutter, but I think they're cheesy builds to hold capture points. And I think we've talked about this before with Conquest, where you have 5 players on each side, and they're fighting over 3 points, and we feel that 3 points is just it spreads out the 5 players way too much. I mean, 3 points might be good if you had like 15 people maybe, so way too many points for the 5 players. And it just focuses, another thing I have a problem with, it just focuses all the damage in a little spot. So, for example, if I wanted to play my thief who needs to roam and who needs to walk, I really need movement, I need space to move. I can't kill people that easily because I'm so worried about staying on the point. And that's what kind of irritates me a lot about Conquest.
Would you say that just having the one game mode would also limit build diversity in just because you have to play to one that will suit capturing points instead of having other types available so that you can just get more builds out there?
Well, do you remember when they rolled out Stormhammer? Stormhammer? I think that's just called Stormhammer.
No.
That's even with Skyhammer.
Skyhammer's the one. That's one.
Even within the Conquest mode, they released a map that had more like diversity to it, where you can knock people off cliffs and there's jump platforms and stuff. And do you remember like how split the community was on it? Because they're like, oh, like I can't run my usual conquest style builds, in that because people are bringing a lot of control and like knockbacks and fears and things like that. So people are having to change up their builds, and they're like, oh, like this isn't the regular conquest I'm used to. I mean, if you release new game modes, definitely it'll change build diversity.
So, from what I've read on the forums and things, that Arena is actually planning on releasing new game modes to satisfy the people who are not satisfied at the moment with the current game type, Conquest, which should be nice. I'm looking forward to what they see. I'm hoping that they will also, not only in releasing new game modes, just introduce some things to make Conquest itself more exciting. Hopefully, just even in a better spectator mode could help Conquest become more popular, just so that it's easier to follow from a spectator's point of view. And
I think it's another problem where you just hit on with Conquest. Sorry, I interrupted you for a second, then you could go back to it.
No,
But
go for it,
another problem that you just made me realize with Conquest mode is it's not a very fun mode to actually watch. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how fun something is to play, it needs to be fun to watch as well if you want it to be like a spectator sport. So yeah, that just reminded me. I also think that it's not a very fun game mode to watch.
With it, I've seen it's not very enjoyable at all, because you've got often a guy who is sitting at a point doing absolutely nothing, just playing guard duty throughout most of the match, which is just really boring. Then you've only, because of how they've done it at the moment, you can only spectate one area at a time, and you can miss a lot of the good plays because you've either have to focus in on a player and the camera's moving around like crazy, or you're fixed to one of the fixed cams, which don't really help you at all. You need something like a free cam would help fantastically. Being able to watch the matches with like a 3-minute delay on it or something, so that you can watch them and actually see everything as it goes and get as many people watching it as you wanted, I think would be fantastic. Hopefully they've got something like some upgrades like that down the line to help out with the Conquest mode and with new game types. Capture the flags, I think, would be nice. What else do we have? King of the Hills, pretty fun too. Just some good old-fashioned deathmatch could be pretty good too. What do you think they should add to SPvP and TPvP, Bird?
Well, I have my own opinion, a strong one, I think, but to touch on the whole spectator thing, I think it's a problem when there's multiple points of focus in the game. Whereas, like, when you're watching League of Legends and you see there's 3 paths and you're watching them lane, and it's not very exciting. What gets exciting is when they start grouping up for team fights and there's one focal point. And I think if they added like a capture the flag, that'd be pretty cool, like a center flag type thing, because it puts your focal point when you're watching. It puts your focal point on one thing, that's a flag, so you're not always having to look, at all the control points and you don't really understand what's going on. But for my opinion of what needs to be added, I mean, it'd be nice to see them get a little creative. I miss some of the fights, like with the keep lords they have now in Forest of Niflheim, no, Legacy of Fire. I mean, that's cool if you didn't have the control points, if it was like a death match, but you can push your way into the Lord's room and kill them to get that big chunk of points. But for me, the reason I quit PvPing was because I was so tired of Conquest mode, and I started going into World more in like a group of like 5 people, and just trying to find enemies like at similar sizes of our party. And I do this because this is like the way I get my PvP fix, because that's so fun to me. Having 5v5 like out just in the open world, not having to worry about points. We're just there to kill each other. And I think it's so much more exciting to watch, and even so much more exciting to play, because the PvP in Guild Wars 2 is some of the best PvP I've ever played in an MMO, probably the best.
I can agree. I can definitely agree to that.
I mean, people sometimes look and say, well, Guild Wars 2 PvP sucks because all the people left at the beginning. But it's not the mechanic of the PvP. It it was like the game styles around the PvP that people didn't like, and there was reward issues and things like that. But we could go into that later. But for me, man, I think a deathmatch would be fixed. Maybe with some little side mechanic like they have in the conquest modes. Maybe some like orb and like spirit watch where you could capture it and return it to like a point in your base or something for some more points. But it's just basically deathmatch, where there's a little side mechanic like that. I think that would be extremely entertaining to play and extremely entertaining to watch.
You know what also could be cool? A mode where you have a rotating. Say it's conquest still, but only 1 point's open at a time to cap. And it rotates a couple of minutes. Then you've capped a point, getting points for it. But the main focus is just fighting, trying to take that 1 point off the other team. It forces team fights and stuff. I think it would be just crazy to watch if you could get some decent spectators on it and stuff.
It really would be fun to watch. This whole getting that whole focal point to like one place where the teams are fighting, and like you get that 5v5. It's just, I mean, if you guys have been in World vs World and been in a good 5v5, you know how much fun it could actually be. So it's just to get away from those control points is so relaxing. But I mean, if you did like you're saying 3 control points and then you just opened one up for the teams to capture, I think that'd be pretty chaotic. Like, you know, you're fighting at one control point and then the far control point opens up, and then you see both teams running over there. Like, you're running over there and trying to kill each other at the same time. I think that'd be pretty funny.
You're forcing team fights and getting all that action and a good PvP going. If you make the points big enough, you don't just get the cheese knockback builds to knock everyone out and then like chip away at it while they're still. You kill them, or you don't get the point, which would just be fantastic.
The control points make AoE builds so easy to play. I mean, in most MMOs I played, AoE builds were harder to play. I mean, because people could run around. If there's such a focus on that control point, like you look at necromancers and engineers right now, they have, if you throw your grenades, it's like just like a perfect fit into that control point, and you could hit, you know, multiple people in there. So if you took that control point away and made like a map where you couldn't do that, I bet you engineers would start switching away from grenades and start switching to other weapons. Or necromancers even, maybe away from scepter staff, just because those AoEs are going to get a lot harder to hit. But anyway, man, that was like one of the most exciting things I saw on the forums in this past couple of months. That along with the balance changes coming up, but to create new game modes for me was something that I needed to get back into PvP, because I've always been a very PvP focused person in any game I played, but I just couldn't do it anymore. I mean, it's probably been a good 4 months since I focused on PvP at all, and this news bringing in new game modes has got me really excited, so I'm really hoping they nail it.
Same here. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Listening. We haven't actually got any live footage of us in this, but anyway, thanks for listening.
You can visit Ceres's private chat room. I'll leave the link in the description for Ceres's private webcam.
Oh dear God. Anyway, thanks for listening, everyone. Goodbye.